No, anyway, so you came into you were within those 12,778 candidates
Yes.
called for personality
Yes.
test. You were also
We
called.
were also called for.
Now, why were you excluded
But
then?
because they say that there was a mismatch in the TET result. TET marks, there was a mismatch. Apropos the e-mark sheet and the database. So they conducted a re-verification after the personality test.
So, show us this point was in one of the coordinate benches ordered that we want to exclude 233.
That is that what, yes.
Commission said that 233 is to be excluded.
But I have shown to your Lordship the opposite, the affidavit of the commission. Now, he says that apropos the leave granted by the Honorable Court in September, on 30th September 22, we were not considered. Okay. So this is because of the array of parties.
It should be memorandum, just like memorandum of appeal. Order 47, Rule 1.
But review at the instance of non-parties.
There is a delay.
There is a delay of, as per the reporter's report, it is 79 days delay.
You want to oppose the delay?
I have to oppose the delay for the reason that in the meantime we have taken steps as per the judgment.
Then you file your opposition.
I just submit before your Lordship. On the last occasion, it fell from the bench. If there are still vacancies and if the arrangement could be made to accommodate these candidates, you are supposed to come back with the instruction, orally observed by this
That
bench.
is because there was a different bench on that day. That is why.
What did we direct in that order? They give appointment to
appeal, your
15,000.
Lordships directed that there should not be re-verification of the process of those candidates who had already participated in the personality test or interview. After the interview, the commission wanted to reopen the cases of those participants through a re-verification process. Your Lordships disapproved that action of the commission. But we say that we also stand on the similar footing, but the commission had filed an affidavit in connection with the appeal wherein they stated that after this personality test, they had re-verified our documents and found us to be not eligible otherwise. By reason of
your names were not there in the list of those, that chart which was prepared.
We appeared at the interview. So we are amongst those 233 candidates who had been left out from the final merit list by reason of certain ineligibility as alleged by the commission.
So that was left out even before it came to us.
We were interviewed subsequently. Now, your Lordships disapproved re-verification after the second stage interview. We participated in the second stage interview or personality test as well. But because of that affidavit, your Lordships directed.
Which affidavit?
They filed an affidavit in connection with the appeal saying that
they showed that 233 is excluded.
We were not parties, we were not informed of that, and not if the Honorable Division Bench has already held that this re-verification process is not applicable to 1585 candidates whom they have interviewed pursuant to your Lordship's order. We also stand on the same pedestal. That's our short point before your Lordships.
I see. Can you show us that portion of the order?
Paragraph 35 of your Lordship's order at page 400.
No, this does not include that 233 exclusion. That was in their list.
In the
prepared that you bring that affidavit on record.
That's also on record.
Where is that page?
Page 226.
The affidavit of the commission is at page 226.
226.
Please come to page 228. Not the affidavit begins at 226. Please come to 228, paragraph 5. Internal page 3 of the affidavit.
Yes, Mr.
Being agreed by the orders, several appeals were filed, one of which is MAT 638 Rajiv Brahmo versus so and so. That was the appeal which was being considered by the Honorable Court. Was pleased to pass an order on 20th July 2021 giving certain directions upon the Commission with regard to conducting of the grievance redressal mechanism and preparation of panel. In compliance with the said directions, the Commission concluded the grievance hearing of about 18,536 candidates on one hand and held the interviews or personality test of 15,436 candidates on the other hand, though only 12,792 appeared for the same. Now please turn over the page to 229. As far as the personality test part is concerned, a total number of 15,436 candidates were called for personality tests, out of which 12,792 candidates appeared in the said personality tests. Out of the 12,792 candidates who participated in the said personality test, 253 candidates, but this should be 233, I believe, were inadvertently interviewed by considering the wrong test score, which after correction, 6 candidates were found to be within the zone of consideration and the remaining 247 candidates were not, and therefore their interviews were to be cancelled as they were wrongly called for interview. Now, this was the stand taken in the affidavit.
Now, remaining how it becomes, this 247 will also differ, no?
Yes,
that
the
calculation is not correct. No, it's kindly proceeds on the basis that it is 233
Kindly
candidates.
see paragraph 9, it will become clear, where we have.
Yes.
Now, please come to page 309.
309.
309.
Yes. No, you are 229. You do not want to show us
Yes,
para
we are
9.
229 I have just now read before your lordships.
No, he was saying paragraph 9.
Paragraph 9, very well. May I place paragraph 9?
230.
230.
Yes.
For the above reasons, this Honorable Court may most graciously be pleased to allow the Commission to do the following so that the order dated 20th July 21, read with 10th November 21 may be complied with and the final merit list may be prepared and produced before this Honorable Court for further directions. But what do they want to do? 1. To remove the 233 candidates referred to in paragraph number 6 above from the interview list, as they were not eligible to participate in the said interview. We had already participated in the interview, as it appears from page 228. Then to upload the interview list with all details of 1585 candidates. Your lordships ultimately allowed these 1585 candidates to be considered without re-verification, who are now eligible to participate in the interviews or personality test, and also to hold the interview of the said 1585 candidates so that the final merit list may be prepared by the Commission. Now, this is what they wanted to do. Now, please come to page 309.
Now, this removal was accepted by our earlier.
I'll show you, lordships. Please come to page 309.
Yes.
Paragraph 8. And paragraph 7 onwards. In compliance with the directions given by the Honorable Division Bench in its order of 30th September 2022, the Commission concluded all pending interviews, which included, in addition to the said 1585 candidates, 4 more candidates who had been inadvertently left out. The Commission also cancelled the call letter of 1 candidate who had inadvertently been called for the personality test. Hence, in the second phase of interview or personality test, a total of 1585 plus 4 minus 1, 1588 candidates were called for interview or personality test. Now, this is factually wrong. Please come to page 193. I'll come back to the page later on. Hence, the total number of candidates who were called for personality test by the Commission were 17024, first phase 15,436, plus second phase 1588. However, the total number of candidates who appeared in the interview or personality test were 14,052, first phase 12,778, plus second phase 1,507, less 233 ineligible candidates.
So they were excluded earlier, 233.
Earlier, yes. Second, we were called for the interview, we appeared.
But you were not there within 15.
We were not in 1585.
158. No, total appointment was given to how 15,000 something.
Yes.
14,339 was the final vacancy.
14,339. Now we directed that fill up how many vacancies?
Now 12,792 appeared in the personality test.
No, tell us the figure.
Final judgment, which is under review.
No, your lordships allowed 1,585.
14,052.
If 1585
were additionally allowed.
additionally allowed.
So the total participants were 14,052
14,052.
appointed. After your lordship's order, 14,052 appointed.
Not appointed, that is continuing. No?
Let us proceed on the basis of a final merit list.
So this 14,052 does not contain 233.
The 287 vacancies still remain.
No, please remind us 1585.
Last order to the
Please come to page 400. But this will immediately come back to your lordship's mind.
So, Mr. Mojumdar, this 233 which you are saying, they were not parties to this proceeding. So what were they were sleeping?
But the list was published only in September and we immediately filed this review before vacation.
September, to in terms of our order. So we said publish.
Your lordships allowed 1585 candidates on the ground that re-verification is not permissible after interview. But they say in their affidavit that we were called for the interview.
Achha, please remind us.
Please come to page.
We were not party to the
Read petition is party.
An appeal.
We were not parties. But this is review by non-parties in the proceeding.
No, there was an order, if I am not wrong, of Justice
Talukdar, I have an
approving that 233 exclusion.
Please come to 234, 304. I'm sorry, 304. It does not exclude. The order does not exclude.
Any person yes.
But had this been brought to your lordship's notice, not your lordship's not, we would have also not sailed through. Please come to 304. That is part of his lordship Justice Talukdar's order.
No, please let us go through what later our
your lordship's order. Yes. Please come to 398. Not paragraph 34. Have your lordships kindly got that? After cancellation of the selection process by the judgment dated 11th November 2020, that's the Honorable Single Judge's order in the first round. The Commission was directed to hold a fresh selection process of all the candidates who are found to be eligible under Rule 12.2, which pertains to preparation of lists of eligible candidates for the purpose of preparation of a computer-generated database of all the candidates. Thus, the quantum of participants in the selection process directed to be continued from the stage of 12.2 remained unaltered to be tested for appointment. In the said conspectus, allowing the same set of candidates to compete for vacancies included in the earlier final vacancy list, together with the newly created vacancies, would enhance the scope selection for the candidates enlisted.
That was for scope of the number of vacancies.
No. In course of hearing of the present appeals, the Commission affirmed 4 supplementary affidavits on so and so dates respectively. Not one of the affidavits is 12 September 22. In the said supplementary affidavits, it has been disclosed that the final vacancies as on 11th November 2019 were 14,339, excluding 10% vacancies reserved for para-teachers. In total, 2,28,660 candidates applied. Upon considering the said applications and upon conducting personality test, a merit list was finally published on 4th October 2019. The same was ultimately set aside by the judgment on 11th December 2020. Proceeding afresh for selection of candidates, the Commission published an interview list consisting of 15,436 candidates with all details on 8 July 2021. The said candidates were thereafter called for personality test, amongst whom 12,778 candidates appeared.
So you are coming within this?
Yes. In the second phase recruitment selection process, up to the personality test, we appeared on being called at the interview.
No, called, you were called for personality test.
Page 193.
Then why were you excluded?
Now comes not the explanation of Commission. Thereafter, in compliance of the orders passed in the writ petitions from which the present appeals have been preferred, 18,436 candidates were called for grievance redressal hearing. 3,329 candidates were absent on the date of hearing, and another list was published on 15th October 2022 consisting of 1,585 candidates who were called for personality test upon obtaining leave of the Honorable Court on 30th September 2022. please come to the order of 30th September 2022. The order does not grant any leave.
No, anyway, so you were within those 12,778 candidates
Yes.
called for personality
Yes.
test. You were also
We
called.
were also called for.
Now, why were you excluded?
Not
then?
because they say that there was a mismatch in the TET result. TET marks, there was a mismatch. Apropos the e-mark sheet and the database. So not they conducted a re-verification after the personality test.
So, show us this point was in one of the coordinate benches order that we want to exclude 233.
That is that what, yes.
Commission said that 233 is to be excluded.
But I have shown to your lordship the opposite, the affidavit of the commission. Now, he says that apropos the leave granted by the Honorable Court in September, on 30th September 22, we were not considered. But that's the middle, almost the middle portion of this paragraph 35. Now, please come to the 30th September 2022 order. That's at 299.
Just, which page?
No, his lordship's order, that is at 299.
So your names were not there in the final panel?
No.
After the declaration?
That's why we are in review.
299.
299.
Yeah, what's showing?
No, there are available vacancies even after the carriage of this interview.
And they will, how you can topsy-turvy with this situation?
No, I am not topsy-turvy. No, there are available 287 seats still left vacant. I am 34 review applicants before your lordships.
No, they are giving, now they are going to the stage of...
14,339 declared vacancies, final vacancy. They have prepared a list of 14,052. So 14,339 minus 14,052 is 287.
In which you can get?
I can fit in. Now, in terms of your lordship's judgment at paragraph 35.
No, we didn't say that.
No. I say I draw analogy. I draw spirit from the judgment.
Oh, now you add that word spirit. That's a nice way of putting it. Yes, to remove paragraph 9 says page 299.
Yes. Dr. Patro, learned counsel, but it's somewhere in the middle portion of that page.
Yes.
299. Dr. Patro, learned counsel appearing for SSC led by Mr. Dotto, learned senior counsel, draws our attention to this, to paragraph 9. Not that paragraph 9 I have placed.
This is in page paragraph
228 and 229.
228 and 229.
Accordingly, on the basis, not at 300, after that quotation, accordingly, on the basis of paragraph 9, read with paragraphs 10 and 11 of the said affidavit, learned counsel for the SSC seeks the leave of this court to conduct the interview or personality test of the 1585 candidates who have been found to be eligible to participate in the interview or personality test. In support of such prayer, the SSC relies upon two orders of the Honorable Division Benches on 20th July and 18th May 22. It is submitted on behalf of SSC that by the order dated 20th July 21, the Honorable Division Bench was pleased to direct the SSC to proceed with the selection process of upper primary teachers and inter alia identified 7 steps to be followed by SSC for conducting such process. It was also specified by the said order of 20th July that SSC shall place both the combined merit list of the candidates actually interviewed in terms of the directions given above, as well as the database reflecting the redressal mechanism of the aggrieved candidates before the Honorable Court for further directions. Please take note of the words on the basis of the database. If any, the SSC should also maintain at its disposal for production before the court as and when necessary the original database of the merit listed candidates existing at the time of filing their applications for selection in 2016. By the next order of 18th May 2022, the Honorable Division Bench was pleased to clarify that the grievance of 1098 candidates to be uploaded along with their academic records for consideration by the SSC. It is now submitted on behalf of SSC upon filtration in terms of the process as specified by the two orders has arrived at the stage for consideration of 1585 candidates for the interview or personality test in terms of para 9 of the affidavit. The SSC has submitted that it should be allowed to go ahead with the personality or interview of 1585 candidates and place its report before the Honorable Court in terms of the order of 20th July. But the next paragraph is also
where
submission.
is that portion that 233 excluded?
Please come to page 304. That's the ordering portion.
Yes, selection process.
Having heard the parties and closely considering the materials placed, this court at this stage is of the view that the selection process as directed to be carried out by the order of 20th July and 18th May are interim in nature, inasmuch as the SSC in terms of the said orders is to produce the merit list and the database before the Honorable Court for further consideration. Accordingly, this court again at this stage is of the view that the appellants do not stand deprived of the opportunity to test the interim findings of the SSC upon compliance of the earlier directions of the Honorable Court. Before parting with this discussion, this court must also notice the anxiety expressed by both the appellants and the SSC and recorded by the order of 20th July seeking expeditious conclusion of the appointment process. In the backdrop of the above discussion, the SSC is permitted to complete the personality test or interview of the said 1585 candidates as stated in its affidavit and subject to compliance of the directions of 20th July 2021 as clarified by the order dated 18th of May 2022 and without prejudice to the rights and contentions of the parties. Now, if the database of the commission is something which they wanted to rely upon, they can't, number one, they can't go back upon their own declaration before this court or stand before this Honorable Court. And number two, your Lordships in paragraph 35 of your Lordship's judgment have specifically debarred the commission from exercising a re-verification process after the interview for 1585 candidates who were before your Lordships.
But that 1585 does not include 230.
No, it doesn't. I seek inspiration from the analogy of your Lordship's judgment in paragraph 35. If re-verification after interview has been held to be...
Why didn't you come earlier, Mr.
No, the
merits will be reopening of the Pandora's box. We don't know if we reopen how many new persons will come in.
No, that's the sole affidavit of commission that 233 were left out. But they have not talked of any other candidate.
How many times we will revisit?
It was for the commission to
file a fresh writ petition.
Today, with
vacancies are existing.
Yes,
go to the writ court and file a fresh writ petition.
Today, your Lordships, there are two ways. One, I can file a
review. Mr. Majumdar, the review, we are apprehensive of this fact that we have closed a chapter. Now, if you find that some parties were not added as such, some arguments could not be made, which could have included this 233. This you are trying to re-argue before us in the review bench.
As a non-party.
As a non-party. So, we don't find, why don't you give a thought to this? Go to the file a fresh petition on the basis of our observation.
I could have. Subject to not this commission's stand having been taken on record before the division bench.
Yes, Dr. Patra.
May I just say a few things? Number one, out of 233, only 34 have come up in review. So the bulk of 233 are not before your Lordships. Number two is they have come at such a belated stage. My learned friend cannot simply go by the order and presume what are the vacancies. We have completed 2 rounds of counseling. We have already done the counseling of 11,500 and odd candidates out of the 14,000. So we have almost completed the process, and now they want to come in claiming that they were non-parties and ignorant when they latest possible date by when they could have become aware of the fact that they were excluded, giving them the maximum benefit, is when we uploaded a provisional list in 2023 without including them. They did not come to court
in
2023.
That is after Justice Talukdar's order.
Yes. Now,
so that list did not contain the...
We were permitted to upload a provisional list.
No, Dr. Patro, if 233 had already been personality tests, they have appeared.
Yes.
Then you are, what is the ground of
your Lordships
exclusion?
Your Lordships will recall. Why have they been removed? we
এই ফাইলটা
wanted
নামাও তো ওনার মুখের সামনে থেকে, এই ফাইলটা নামাও তো। হ্যাঁ,
we had made an endeavor to check the TET answer scripts of the candidates and to see whether the server marks and the marks in their e-mark sheets were correct. Now, if we avoid all the complications of the litigation, because there were so many ups, downs, twice we published provisional merit lists. Lastly, we published the final list on the basis of which the selection process is now almost concluded. So, these 230, what your lordships finally directed.
Final published list is there. If we pass any order in your favor, you have to be inducted in your respective levels in the final published list. Then they will consider you. This will topsy-turvy the entire situation.
But I have a submission to make for your lordship's kind consideration. 14,339 is the declared final list of
Admitted, vacancies are there. So you go and obtain an injunction as regards the remaining vacancies, and they are also not minded to do so, because the reporting as it has been done, it says that many persons have opted out of the process. So further vacancies has occurred, which they will be filling up from the second list or what
wait list, not whatever.
Wait listed candidate.
But we are not even in the wait list because of non-consideration.
Yes, exactly. So you have today, if we give you this permission, tomorrow another 5% will come and say extend the same benefit to me. This will be an ever going process of interference.
Your lordships, not your lordship's judgment, not
so, Majumdar, apply your strength on the basis of fresh reports.
But I can seek your lordship's leave then.
Leave for what?
So that not the affidavit used before this honorable court has been taken into consideration while delivering the judgment. This may be a stand taken before the honorable single bench.
Right, but your exclusion therefrom, you are not parties to them, you are not guided by that order.
No, that is the point I take before your lordships by UEFA review application. I could have filed a separate
your
petition.
Scope of challenge is narrow here, Mr. Majumdar.
Not just because not if your lordship makes certain or not makes an observation that these 233 have not been considered and it is left open. Because not his lordship Justice Talukdar, while pronouncing that order on that judgment, said that at this stage and it is an interim measure. Number one, 1463 candidates were before your lordship's court, which your lordships allowed that no re-verification is permissible.
Right, but you were not there, no, Mr.
We were not there. So not
So
my fate gets
been
sealed
My lord,
by
may I-
reason
may
of
I
an
just-
affidavit used before the division bench, of which we were not aware. Not that appeal was
This much you can withdraw, we will give you the liberty to approach the writ.
Appropriate forum.
My lord, before that,
not the appeal was at the instance of persons who were not called at the interview, and we were called at the interview in the second phase.
We understand your grievance. Now, the thing is that suppose today we pass the order accepting your contention, this will it will again topsy-turvy the entire situation. So, process subject to what you are thinking, if the process after being concluded, there are more than 300 vacancies left, so that they cannot fill up those by a fresh in the carry forward rule, they do not apply to that. And if you have been interviewed, then I don't think there will be any problem. But to give you that benefit in the review, in the limited scope of review, subject to what you argue, Mr. Majumdar, I think that might be difficult.
my lord, may I interrupt?
ওটাতে আর অসুবিধা কি?
Two
We
things.
will give liberty to
For
them.
1.5 years, they are aware that they
Are
were,
they-
because we
for
published, I have
For
the
8 years,
notification.
Dr. Patro, everybody was struggling. Now the matter is being resolved.
Second aspect, what was the short observation of the Honorable Division Bench while passing the final order? That the commission did a mistake by reopening the OMR sheets and that we have to go by the e-mark sheet. That was the final observation. We cannot recheck, re-examine, review the marks. So we went purely by the e-mark sheets. In our previous affidavit, which my learned friend was placing, he did not place the annexure. We have shown there that in case of each of the candidates, all 233 candidates, they were all below the cutoff while considering the e-mark sheets. And that is why, while finally doing it, let us ignore all the events which happened over the last 3 years. I have also prepared an affidavit, though on the last occasion, no order was passed upon me, but my lord had directed me to take instruction. The nature of the instruction is such that I cannot place it without an affidavit. So I have prepared an affidavit annexing the list of 233 candidates, all including these 34, showing their e-mark sheet, TET weightage calculated on the basis of e-mark sheet, because your lordships have directed
Now they are coming within the zone.
No, they are all below the cutoff. One has become disqualified and the remaining 232, they are all below the cutoff. That chart we have prepared and annexed. Kindly just see the chart. Your lordships need not read the affidavit.
So, Dr. Patro, this will create difficulty for them to get an order from the writ court if we take it.
Yes, that is correct. But there also I will be taking the same stand. They can go before the writ court. I will have to fight it out.
I invite your lordship's kind attention to page 301. How many stands will the commission take before different courts?
Have you handed over this thing to?
No, because there was no direction. I do not know whether your lordships will allow me. I can give a copy.
Affirm it? No, not affirm.
Yes, it is affirmed.
301.
So these persons do not come within the cutoff to be in the final list.
Lordship. And since your lordships have directed,
then how they were called for the interview?
That is the thing. That is why ultimately when your lordships directed us not to look at the OMR sheets, not to go by server marks, to check on the basis of the e-mark sheets, since they were already rejected on the basis of e-mark sheets.
So
we did not.
No, that which Dr. Patro, you did not point it out to us that apart from this, there are 233 candidates who would also not be excluded since the court is taking up this stand. Then we could have passed that order.
No, they were excluded because they are below the cutoff after taking into consideration the e-mark sheets.
Then why did you call them for the interview?
That was the mistake or the wrong of the commission initially while conducting the interview.
Answered by your lordships at paragraph 37 of the
Just like we had wrongly excluded the 1585, which your lordships directed us to take back.
Please take page 301 and page
we can take
402.
Back, but we cannot.
Please take 2 pages side by side.
They are ineligible.
At varying standard, various stages.
All right, do one thing. Unofficially, we are asking him to give a copy to you. You go through that copy and think over this as to whether it will be profitable for you to go for a writ or not upon taking liberty from us. And if you still want that, no, you will insist on the review, then we will.
We can go back. Not kindly recollect, not Shivdeo Singh, our writ petition is maintainable to review a judgment, but not before this is before a division bench that this
will not be. You will not be reviewing our judgment. Your ground will be different in
different. Now, there are vacancies available where not we take not.
Yes, there are
encouragement from your lordship's judgment.
It is a fact that we were interviewed. On that analogy, you give us subject to what objection they take.
Not kindly have I was not apropos the supplementary affidavit or the opposition which my learned friend must have prepared. But I was just drawing your lordship's kind attention to 2 pages, 301 and 402.
Yes, 301.
Not internal page 7.
So, Mr. Mojumdar, we will go through that. If you take this decision, then why should we unnecessarily?
Not if your lordship kind of makes this observation that I am at liberty to go back before the honorable single judge, but I'll come back on another day after taking an instruction.
We will dismiss it as withdrawn with liberty to you to take appropriate steps.
Have you got the copy?
Yes.
I have to give one copy to Mr. Mojumdar.
This is not a secret document. You can give
No, because the annexure was already annexed to the previous affidavits also.
Then Dr. Patro, do one thing, give a copy to him. Yes. We are not taking it on record because if we take it on record, then we have to deal with it.
Your lordships can take it on record and then not rely upon it while sending it back to the single judge.
Had Mr. Mojumdar and the advocate appearing for the applicants?